Module 4 Practicing CBE in Classrooms. Part 1 Classroom Management Practices in CBE. Hello, welcome to Module 4 of the course. In this module, we will be exploring classroom management practices in a competency-based education system. In a competency-based learning environment, schools and classrooms focus on achievement of mastery across grade-level competencies and learning outcomes and deeper learning of students. This system ensures that policies and practices are clearly defined and core CBE features are prevalent in every classroom. We will be elaborating on these core classroom features in this module. Learning outcomes. By the end of this module, you will be able to understand the classroom management practices in a personalized, competency-based teaching and learning environment. Understand how teachers can support students' learning needs and can effectively conduct assessments to determine if students have achieved mastery. So let us get started with part 1 of this module. In this topic, we will talk about what the classroom management looks like in a competency-based teaching learning environment. A study conducted by the American Institutes of Research (AIR) on competency-based education examined CBE policies and practices in schools and identified 6 core features of CBE-based classrooms. Let us have a look at these features. Learning targets, measurement of learning, instructional approaches and supports, when and where learning takes place, assessment strategies, and pacing and progression. Let us discuss these features briefly. Learning targets. In CBE classrooms, learning targets or outcomes students are expected to achieve are well defined and explicitly shared with students. These learning targets call out the specific skills and competencies that students are expected to demonstrate across subjects and domains. The learning targets are based on learning progression and linkages across concepts and skills. Measurement of learning. The measurement of learning in CBE classrooms is based on the mastery of specific learning targets. Demonstrating mastery in learning targets is considered more important than time duration of learning in the classrooms. Instructional approaches and supports. Competency-based classrooms adopt flexible and student-centered personalized instructional strategies and support. Students are given opportunities to practice agency and teachers provide support based on their needs. CBE classrooms promote autonomy and accountability in students for their own learning. For example, CBE schools tailor learning based on each student's strengths, needs and interests, including enabling student voice and choice in what, how, when and where they learn, to provide flexibility and supports to ensure mastery of the highest standards possible. When and where learning takes place. In a CBE classroom, students have flexibility regarding when and where they complete their learning targets. There is less emphasis on class and school attendance, that is, the seat time. Students have more significant opportunities to earn grades through activities, projects, online coursework, and internships. They have a choice to earn grades outside the classroom of a traditional school setting and schedule. Assessment strategies. Assessment strategies in a CBE classroom are flexible. Students have a choice in when and how they demonstrate what they have learned in the class. They can choose the type of assessments they want to take to demonstrate learning targets. They are also given flexibility in retaking the assessments to improve their scores. Pacing and progression. CBE classrooms allow students to work at their own pace and demonstrate mastery in the competencies. Grade level advancement is based on demonstrated mastery of required competencies rather than the amount of time spent in classrooms. Teachers give extended time and support to students for their accelerated learning pace. Let us have a look at how the Pattonville School District, Missouri, in the United States is practicing a personalized, competency-based approach to teaching and learning.
In a personalized, competency-based setting, students advance in their learning by demonstrating they have mastered important concepts and skills, also known as competencies. Learning is customized to student needs, including the time it takes to master the subject matter, the teacher's instructional practices, and the structure of the learning environment. The Pattonville School District is continuing to move to a personalized, competency-based learning model across grade levels as a way to ensure all students are ready for high school course content and, ultimately, success after they graduate. Here's a glimpse of what that looks like in Pattonville.
At Drummond Elementary, students are placed for math based on their level of understanding related to essential standards and critical content in math. Using district formative and summative assessments, individual learning plans are created for each student in order for them to be successful. This has really helped teachers become insanely clear about what students need to know across a K-5 continuum in order for them to be successful. Learning targets are selected that can meet the needs of students where they are, while also exposing them to grade level content. This has created a culture of student agency with ongoing goal setting and self-reflection. When you walk through classrooms, you will often see students working in small groups. Some are teacher-directed, some are student-directed, and some are personalized learning.
So this year at Heights, we decided to take math off team, and we did that for two reasons. Number one, we had an increase in student population, but the second reason was so that we could differentiate a little bit more on the types of math classes that we were able to offer. For example, in 8th grade, we actually have 5 different levels that students could be taking for a math class. We go all the way from geometry, algebra, advanced pre-algebra, regular pre-algebra to a collaborative. We have students coming in with varying degrees of math knowledge, and what we learned over the last few years is that that gap is getting wider and wider. We have students who are exceptional in math who need to be able to take those high school level classes. And then we have students who really struggle and need lots of extra support, as well as time to really digest the information. This has been really successful in allowing students to have an openness in their schedule so that they can take those higher level classes, maybe for math, but not for another class. It's also allowed for us to differentiate a little bit more on how we are going to reach students' levels when we have kids coming in with varying degrees. Even though they are labeled an 8th grade student, they might have high school level abilities, or they may be coming in with 3rd, 4th, 5th grade level abilities. Students have the opportunity in 8th grade to take high school level courses and also to take lower level courses, which is still pre-algebra, but with extra support and extra time.
So in terms of competency-based learning in mathematics at the high school level, I worked with the district level CSIP committee on student learning. And what we did in that year's worth of work is that we looked at what's the difference between a standard versus a competency, and then we broke up into 2 different groups, one for English language arts and one for mathematics. And in our group, basically what we looked at are what are the main things that students must be able to know and do in order to be successful in using their mathematical skills beyond high school. So we looked at a variety of things. We looked at Common Core standards, but most importantly, we looked at the 8 standards of mathematical practice. So most of our competencies in mathematics are coming from those 8 standards of mathematical practice that focus on the wider, most important aspects of math learning for any student, anywhere, in any district in the United States. So how does that look like here at the high school? Well, this year we are in the beginning stages of our journey of really examining what competency-based learning looks like in our classrooms. As with the rest of the district, we use evaluate data. The evaluate data is an assessment that's given once a month to all of our freshman students or students who are taking Algebra 1, and it tracks really important concepts that are going to be tested on the end of course exam. As an Algebra 1 data team, we look at that data, review it, and we adjust our learning goals based on the data that we receive back from those assessments. In addition, in our 2-year algebra program, we use Math 180, and we're also piloting some other online math programs that would enable us to have some more flexibility with how students are progressing and learning with mathematics. So this is a very exciting time for our math department here at the high school. We are at the precipice of learning and seeing how personalized learning and how competency-based standards can really push our students to achieving the things that we know that they can do.
Let us now summarize the points that we discussed in this topic. We covered 6 core features of competency-based classrooms. CBE classrooms explicitly defined and share learning targets with students. Measurement of learning in competency-based classrooms depends on the mastery of learning targets rather than time spent in the classroom. Teachers provide flexible and student-centered instructional strategies and support in CBE classrooms. Students have flexibility in how they complete their learning targets. Students in CBE classrooms can choose the type of assessments they want to take to demonstrate learning targets. Students in competency-based classroom work at their own pace to reach mastery. Great! You have completed the topic, Classroom Management Practices in a Competency-Based System. In the next topic, we will talk about how teachers support the individual learning needs of students. Till then, goodbye.